Well, Andrew Delman, thanks for doing the podcast.
Of course. Thanks for dealing with the fact that my phone only has one dongle and it was at 1% and we couldn't do the whole thing, but here we are.
Who goes down to 1%?
Okay, long story short, my computer is dead and Apple, because of COVID, is not open. So I ordered a computer 2 weeks ago and it's supposed to get here tomorrow. So it's like I still have a job though. So I'm literally doing all the work on an iPhone, which is yeah, I didn't think it, especially when you do web design as your side hustle. So I'm like writing code on a little tiny phone. It's a nightmare.
HTML bracket. Damn it.
Yeah, exactly. And you miss one comma and the whole thing's fucked.
Yeah. I got a new laptop recently because I started using Premiere to do video editing.
Oh yeah.
And at some point it was just too slow. And I got a new laptop from the Apple store and I paid like the $7 for them to deliver it like within the hour. And it was like the best experience. It was the best $7 I've ever spent.
That was not an option because I bought the Mac Mini, the new one.
Okay.
Because you can soup it up, like 64 gigs of RAM.
Nice.
And then I also bought the iPad Pro as like my new laptop, but they didn't have any option of instant delivery or else I would have done it.
Yeah, I specifically bought the one that was not custom because I wanted it like now. I was fed up with my Premiere export. I'm like, I can't deal with this. Like, send it over.
Yeah.
So
that's where I'm at.
Hopefully 32 gigs of RAM will be fine for the next couple of years. It seems to be okay.
You should be fine. I was just investing for the long haul, and also it wasn't that much more. And I was like, I want to see how crazy this thing can go. Like, yeah. I mean, because it's faster than the iMac Pros and cheaper. So I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it. Anyways,
I thought you'd be FaceTiming on your old laptop because you and we both like to keep our gadgets going like as long as possible.
That's the one that just died, dude. That's why, like, so it's a 2011 MacBook Pro and the video card just died. And the
video card?
Yeah, that's what happened. Like, so the screen goes, and then it goes gray. The rest of it works, but it's the video card. So I literally was like, I have a guy in Dana Point, and I was like, can you fix it? And he's like, because of COVID, I'm out. And I was like, he's like, unless you want to wait till the end of July. And I'm like, I'll just buy a new one. It's from 2011. Yeah. It's time.
You got good use out of it. That's pretty...
Totally. But that's why I also got the 64 gig Mac or 64 gig memory Mac. I'm like, this will last me another 11 years.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I'm going for it.
Did you get the 16?
What do you mean?
The 16? Oh, no, you got the Mac Mini. That's right.
Yeah, so it's like 2 terabytes of memory or of hard drive, 64 gigs of RAM, i7 6-core shit show. But I already have monitors and speakers and everything because of I do photography and web design, as I was saying, as my side job. Mm-hmm. So I have all the monitors, all the speakers, everything you already need. So I was like, I just need the computer part. So that's what I got. Yeah.
So that's photography, web design, comedy, writing.
Yeah. But I mean, I think web design and photography and design all kind of go together. Like, I mean, normally I do like fixer-upper for brands, like, so let's say you have a really good, like, for instance, I've rebuilt this brand for this guy. He has like an art gallery and a jewelry store in Laguna Beach.
Okay.
But he had no online anything. He has a really good business, but because of COVID, he's had 3 months of no business. So he needs a website, but he has no logo, no brand identity. So that's where I go in. I take pictures of all his products. I make a brand identity, colors, fonts, everything, and then build it up. And so now he has a pretty dope Shopify, and he's selling like crazy.
Oh, nice. You're going to get some business through this.
We'll see, hopefully.
Yeah. What do you think about the like do-it-yourself websites like Squarespace and the other ones that are like you just start pointing and clicking?
If you asked me 3 years ago, I'd be like, fuck those things. But now I really think they're very powerful depending on what you're trying to do with it. If you're trying to make your own personal website for like a portfolio website, like web design or That's so funny. I just got a text from my wife's dad is trying to FaceTime her, and she's like,
Yeah.
"Why are you doing?" And I'm like, "I'm on the FaceTime. We can only face."
Conference them in. Well,
Yeah. That's hilarious.
uh,
Um, no, but I do think Squarespace is really powerful if you're just trying to make like an individual portfolio. It's super easy to use. It's super well protected, and it has really good SEO options.
yeah.
Um, I also think that if you're trying to sell stuff, I think Shopify is really, really good for like mainly selling stuff. The issue with them is they're not super customizable unless you do know what you're doing, but they are customizable. And if you're just trying to make a website that looks good, it doesn't matter. But if you need something super custom, obviously WordPress or custom coding. Like I built the Comedy Bureau,
Oh, you
and we
did?
did, yeah, I did that. And so like
Nice.
all of that is custom WordPress.
Yeah, I used Squarespace for mine and I was happy with it. I mean, it's working good. It's pretty easy to like go in there, and I have a little bit of a coding background, but I never learned HTML, and nor do I want to at this stage. So it's
Yeah, for me, it's like I'm cheap for sure, and it's like I know how to build what I want, and so if you build it on WordPress, you only pay hosting fees. You don't have to pay anything else. Whereas like
yeah.
with Squarespace, I believe it's like $20 a month or something, which is high if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing, you get hosting, you get support, you get the URL. It makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
And so we know each other through multiple avenues. We were both around when the Dynasty typewriter started, right?
yeah, yeah. We were in this small. I built their website too.
Oh,
Their
nice.
original. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, love those guys. I hope they're going to make it through the COVID, or there's some sort of light at the end of the tunnel for live events. I mean,
Yeah, it's really weird, man. I mean, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, I know the Comedy Store's open for drinks and whatever,
and
but
chicken strips.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And I mean, the Improv, I feel like they have to own that building, or something. They've been there so long, but it's like
Hopefully they do. Yeah.
but it is scary to think about. I remember reading Roy Wood Jr.'s post a while back at the beginning of this and being like, there's going to be a lot of places that close. And I think, I think he, I think that's right. I think there will be a lot of places that might close.
Yeah. I mean, already restaurants are closing, like businesses are closing.
Yeah.
Ventura Boulevard is just like a bunch of UPS stores and like one Starbucks now. Like it's nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. That is, but I'm just talking specifically comedy clubs. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, which is scary, but it is like, I mean, I couldn't imagine 3 months of no rent and no, like, they make money off not only comedians buying booze, but
Yeah.
like fans paying for tickets and buying booze. And now they're just closed.
Yeah. I mean, it's a hybrid restaurant performance business model.
Yeah.
And restaurants are highly levered. You need to be making the money every month, and rent is usually high. I'd
Yeah.
imagine some of these legacy clubs do own their land, so that's going to make it easier. But it's
I know
still,
I know the Comedy Store does. Like I
yeah,
know that Mindy owned that when she bought that in the 70s, it came with that and a house in the back. So
mm,
like they own both of those. So I think they'll make it out, but I mean they're obviously hurting and so.
yeah. And I'm sure some developers are like, hey, approaching them just so you know, we could put like 5,000 glass units right where the Comedy Store is, and that would be so
They
sad.
could. It would be. But I mean Pauly Shore, I don't think he needs the money and neither does his family. I think they're set up and the Hollywood Improv has Levity Entertainment Group, which is not only a club owner, but they are like a management company. So they're
Right.
making residuals maybe or something. I have no idea. But
Yeah, I think that they'll both be fine, but who knows? It's definitely killed the independent show scene.
yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
dead.
I mean,
Yeah.
you and I both run a bunch of shows in town. Like we had one
Yeah.
together at the West Side Comedy,
Yeah.
Tight Five, which is now just a big Tight Zero. And
Yeah.
hopefully West Side is doing all right too.
Yeah, I mean, I know that Gorbos was one of the guys that runs it was saying like that they're doing okay, but
Yeah,
I have no idea that and yeah, some of the smaller I know UCB is they had to close a bunch of locations.
right. So have you been doing any of these Zoom shows? Or are you kind of not into it, or what's your take on it?
I have been doing some, but I'm not pursuing it the same as I would pursue a live if someone asks me to do it and I have the time, I'll do it, obviously. But I do feel like it's a different medium, you know? Like I feel like stand up is so live. Like I mean, even if you watch a lot of the stand up specials, they're not even super they don't translate as well as like if you're there at the comedy store. Some of the beauty of or my favorite parts of live stand up is like some of the weird I remember once the I was doing a set at the Hollywood Improv at 1 a.m. in the main room. It was one of those late night development spots,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool, and I hope those come back. But or no, yeah, but it was like right before I went on, the Sklar brothers and Neil Brennan, they were supposed to go on back to back, but no one was in the audience. I don't know why. It was just dead. And so they kind of were like, hey, fuck it. Do you all three want to go on stage together and pull out our notebooks and start just kind of like going through ideas and like give each other notes?
Yeah.
And it was magical because it's like, you know, Neil Brennan, one of the co-creators of the Chappelle Show, and completely different style than the Sklar brothers,
Right.
and they're all just kind of like coming up with ideas. It was, and that's one of those moments where I don't think you get to see that ever. You see the finished product on, like I remember seeing Bill Burr do a thing at Flappers in the freaking Yoo-Hoo room for like 9 people, and it was raw and it was really good. And then you see his special and it's still really good, but it's more like sculpted, you know, whereas like there's something beautiful about the live element and feeling them out, whereas I think the Zoom shows it's the wrong medium to go in there and be like, "Hey, how's it going?" The other day, it just feels
Yeah,
weird.
yeah. And
So
also it's probably being recorded somewhere. You don't know for sure. So you kind of want to have, it semi-polished, or you're not creating organic analog moments on a Zoom show, like an organic
yeah,
experience, It's just one more screen that we're looking at.
I kind of feel like the Zoom shows I started doing, I kind of got rid of most of my material and I would kind of make it like stream of consciousness, sort of playing with the audience, calling people out. It just became like a crowd work show
Yeah.
online because it's exactly what you're talking about. I didn't want people to record me. I also felt like it was very weird to do written material when it was obvious. Like, if they want to see written, really polished shit of mine, just go on YouTube. It's really easy. It's there. But I was like, since we're all here, it's like I'm trying to make people laugh. Like, one of my friends, he just made me do one for well, he didn't make me, but he requested I do one for all these nurses and doctors in Manhattan. So they're just like dying of like they just need laughter, and that was so hard. But once we broke it down, it was really awesome. But it's like I didn't do anything that I've written. It was all just very much like off the cuff, which I think was nice. It was a nice conversation, but I don't feel like I'm getting a lot out of it.
And you can't like not talk about the current situation. It'd be
Yeah.
weird to just completely ignore it, but it's also no one's really tuning in, I would imagine, to just hear you're 40 on, or even 15 or 10 on COVID. They're all living it.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too is like, and I can't help but like want to stay away from talking about it. Like I live in the middle of West Hollywood where everyone is in the industry for the most part.
Mm.
And you go out on the street to walk the dogs and there's some guy on the phone and he's like, all right, so I got this idea. It's a rom-com, okay? But like two roommates are trapped together in quarantine and they fall in love. And you're just like, God, it's like, I feel like
Never
it's,
ends.
yeah, exactly. And you're like, no one wants to watch that. No one wants to see
Yeah.
that. People want to almost remember what things were like. Like, I mean, I'm watching old videos and it is, I don't know. Yeah, I just don't think they want to hear that stuff.
Yeah. Give me a reality show about 2019. Like, that's what I want to see.
Yeah, exactly. Remind me what was it like to eat out at a restaurant and yeah,
Yeah.
to take an Uber and Lyft and
I haven't been
yeah.
doing any of that. No restaurants, no Ubers.
I have not ordered or gone out since this happened.
You haven't ordered food?
Nope.
You just make
I've
it
cooked.
yourself?
Yeah, so originally, well, my wife has a severe heart condition. She was born with her heart backwards and she had 4 open heart surgeries. So, like, she really can't catch it, or it's ideal that she does not catch it.
Right.
And she's a great cook, luckily for me. And so when this first started, it was more of like an exercise, like, let's just see. And then before you know it, it's like, all right, well, we don't really need to eat out. Like, we're cooking at home all the time. We got a dishwasher, luckily.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then it becomes like, wow, the things you miss about it are not, it's just the experience. Like, I miss being with my friends and being able to just hang out and pig out and do whatever. But it's like, I don't need the restaurants.
You don't need the food, but it's like the social thing is
Yeah, of
important.
course.
And
Yeah.
now we all have new habits. That's going to be the thing to break. Like, I'm never going to go to a grocery store again. Like,
Yeah.
having it
What are
delivered
you
is,
doing?
I just use Amazon Fresh
Oh,
or
okay.
Whole Foods delivery. They
Okay.
seem to be working the best for me where I am at. But yeah, it's just like okay, half the avocados might be bad in a batch, but you just like that. I just chalk it up to being part of the experience. Like, okay,
That's what it would have been like anyway if you bought them from a store. But yeah.
yeah, so it's working. And like, yeah, Uber is going to be hard to get back in. Even if they clean it, like I don't know.
Well,
It's a
it
lot of
just depends.
trust.
Yeah, it just depends. I mean, if they figure out a way, if we move on from, like, in time, that might be a thing again. But yeah, but for now, it's like, but that is the problem too. Is like, I used to use Uber when I was drinking. It's like, but I wouldn't use a taxi either. I don't really. I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah, it's nothing against Ubers. It's just about sharing a tiny space with a driver and another passenger.
Exactly. We've been using, what is it called? Imperfect Produce. They deliver
Oh, I heard
food.
about them.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna write
pretty
that
cool. It's
down.
the ugly food that because there's so much waste normally because they for some reason have to sell perfect looking avocados. So you
Yeah.
buy one that looks a little more ugly, but it tastes the same and it's saving waste and it's a little cheaper. That's what we've been doing, and they deliver it every Monday.
Oh, it's smart. I mean, yeah, you
Yeah,
go to Gelson's and every single piece of fruit is like in like a perfect pyramid, and it's like it's
yeah.
not natural.
No, yeah, these are the natural ones where you're like, okay, all right, but I mean,
Yeah.
it tastes the same, and you're saving the world a little bit, so why not?
Yeah, they need a home too.
Yeah.
So you guys basically stay home. Have you thought about leaving? Are you from LA?
Yeah, I'm from this area, so my parents quarantine pretty hard, and they're from Claremont, if you know where that is.
Yeah,
It's
Claremont
not too
College.
exactly. So it's about 45 minutes from here. Um, they have a backyard, a fire pit, the whole thing. So we were staying out there for a while, which was really nice because then it's like they have an outdoor area. And
Yeah.
there's not as many people in Claremont that have it, and also it's easier to keep your distance. Whereas here, it's like we like to call them White Walkers. Like, you go out on the street, there's people with no masks, just like walking. It's just like zombies. Yeah,
Yeah, but West Hollywood now it's $300 if you don't wear a mask.
but they're not ticketing people because I guarantee you, if they did, that shit would spread like wildfire. But they're not. They don't care. They're too busy doing other stuff.
Oh yeah, I guess it would be the police, right? That would be
Yeah,
doing the
because who else
tickets.
is going to ticket them? I'm not going to be the opposite of a Karen and run up to someone and be like, "You are not wearing a mask. Here is a ticket." It's like, how are they going to enforce that? So,
Right, yeah.
I mean, maybe give the parking dickheads a little bit more. Like, all they do is ticket cars all day. It's like, hey, you want to ticket these people too? Like, have fun, go for it.
Yeah, one for you, one for your car, one for you,
Yeah,
one for your
yeah,
car.
exactly. Like, you're already loving giving tickets. Why not?
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, if some people they might be furious, but they would start paying attention. I mean, there was that story I read online about some doctor who was like flying to go help people. Like, he was honestly like flying to give his services somewhere else, and the guy next to him, one seat over, wasn't wearing a mask, and he asked him if he could wear the mask, and the guy's like, free country. And he's like, I'm a doctor. And he's like, so what? Free country. But then they were like, can you put your seat in the upright position and buckle up? And he did, no problem. And you're like, that's the issue. Is like, for some reason, new rules are not accepted. Whereas like there was no TSA before 9/11, but now no one has a problem with it. I mean, we all have a problem with it, but you deal with it. It's like, and I don't think the mask thing is forever. I know conspiracy theories are, but it's like, if you are sick, you should wear one, and then when we get out of Dodge, we can figure it out. But right now, it's like everyone should wear one if they're in public until we get this shit under control.
It does help. And I guess if you're the airline, it's kind of your responsibility. If you want everyone to wear a mask, you just snap your fingers and be like, it's a mask only plane.
I mean, that's what you would think, but it's like, how do you enforce that? Like the minute the flight attendant goes and sits down, someone, it's like people are just, it's just like too many people to monitor.
And it is hard. Like, I go for hikes here and there, and it's like you're wearing the mask and you have to like take it off for a second. Like you have to just like get some normal air for a second just to like,
or it's just nice to. I mean, yeah, it's like, that's the thing. And if you keep distance, that's the thing. Like, as long as you're responsible about it. Like, I have one of those. It's like a neckerchief that you can pull up and down. Like when I go hiking.
Yeah, it sounds fancy.
Oh, it's fancy. Yeah. No, it's not too bad. Yeah, it's nothing much. No, I also don't love the mask thing, and part of me is a conspiracy theorist, and then part of me isn't. But it's like, obviously I don't want to wear a mask forever, but it's like, as of right now, it's like, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I sometimes use bandanas, and I have a whole new respect for cowboys, because it's like impossible to get a bandana to stay on your face. Like like, I've tried everything. I'm like, this doesn't work.
I've done it, but you gotta like smash the nose.
Oh yeah, your nose is toast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of banks they were robbing, because that was falling off.
I mean, who hasn't though? I went into a bank with a bandana because I was like, now's the chance. Like, this is the time to do this.
It did feel weird. Like, I ran into Starbucks with my mask on. Like, I'm running into the door, like putting a mask. It just feels like criminal. I'm about to like do something. Yeah. And then I go in and there's two people in there and no mask. I'm like,
I know. And that's
indoors. Come on, man.
I have a friend who owns a business. One of my clients that I was helping rebuild his brand, and I went into his store to take pictures of his products, and people came in without a mask, and he was just kindly was like, hey, there's other people in here. Would you mind putting a mask on? And they literally like screamed at him and like called him like racial term, and he's just like, I'm asking you to like. This isn't it. So I can't imagine like.
But it's his store, right? He can kick him out. Be like, get out.
Yeah, but obviously he's been closed for 3 months because he wants to sell stuff.
That's
it's
true.
Like, and so it's a double-edged sword, because it's like he is a salesman, so he's like a people person, But it is also like he's trying to play that fine line of It's just very, very interesting, because it's like, yeah, you want to kick them out, but who the hell wants to actually kick people out? Like, who wants to? You want people in your store. You want to sell.
Yeah, everyone's holding on by a thread.
Exactly. Yeah, he was like trying to, when I first was working for him, because he had gotten hit so hard from COVID, he was like trying to pay me half in cash and half in product, and it's like, which is fine because he sells jewelry, but I don't wear much jewelry, but it's just an interesting world that we're in, where it's like bartering and going kind of back to our old ways.
Yeah, they should have a barter station where we would just show up with some stuff. I guess that's
pawn shop.
Oh, yeah, that's not COVID friendly too. Yeah, like secondhand stuff. Like, I have stuff now that I normally would have sold. I'm like, I don't see this happening now. I just like tossed it.
Yeah, I had some stuff I forgot that was on like OfferUp, and people are hitting me up all the time, and I'm like, who are these people? I don't know. You're not coming over. Well, I'm not like, no. I
don't want like the evaluatory period. I don't want them like touching it and being like, so how long have you had it? I'm like,
Venmo me right now and I'll leave it on my front doorstep as is. Like, that'd
be a good website to start. As is by Delman.
As it is. Yeah, exactly. It's going to be less, but it's as is. And I tell you, it works. Yeah.
I bought a very indulgent purchase on eBay. Like when you're up late and you just click on stuff, you're like, fuck it. And I bought it.
I did that the other day.
I bought a typewriter.
Oh, I saw that. That's hilarious.
And it's right here. You can kind of see it. And it's amazing. It's so fun. It's kind of like nostalgic and
Is it
great.
a new one or an
No, it's a
old one?
used one. It's like a
Yeah.
1955
Yeah, no, it looked
Olympia.
really smooth. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn how to do it, and it's got me in a good writing flow. And
That's cool.
but still, I was like, all right, well, maybe I just blew this money. Is this guy gonna ship it during COVID? Like, I don't know. This is
And
like,
that's so heavy. I can't imagine how much that costs to ship.
oh, it was only $50.
To ship?
Yeah, it's actually less heavy than I would have thought.
Okay. I have, because I collect old weird stuff. I have a few typewriters and they're massive. Like probably, I don't know, if I had to guess, like 30 pounds, and it's just
Yeah.
heavy.
This is
It's
probably
heavy.
like 15. It's a portable model technically, so it has a
Yeah,
little
yeah,
portable case, so
yeah.
it's not too bad. But yeah, it's like all these things. You're like, is the norm of selling used stuff? Is he just gonna be like, oh, COVID, sorry, I'll ship it in 2
Well,
months,
I
you
don't
know?
I don't mind that. Like I sold a lens on eBay the other day and I shipped it. And so I don't mind if I'm shipping it,
Yeah,
cuz
yeah.
like I just as I said I have that, it's just having people come over and tinker with it. It's like no, it's like if you want to buy it as is, I tell you it works. It's in the car. There you go.
Yeah, we
But
have these little rockets that like a stomp rocket we use with the kids. It's
oh
like
yeah,
and
yeah,
it
yeah.
flies over and it flew over our fence into the street. And this
Yeah.
lady's like picked it up and said, "Here you go." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
Are you not in tune with
Yeah.
what's going on? I appreciate the sentiment, but now I have to burn this rocket in front of the kids and they're
I know,
crying
I
and
know. I had someone I'm trying to think of who it was. I had someone like recently like try and hug me and I was like, "What world do you think we're living in?"
yeah.
Like yeah, it was like we gave him I think it was a family member. We gave him a whole thing like we're not going to see you until you quarantine for this long. And they did quarantine and that was their argument is like I haven't seen another person for 2 weeks and you're like, "I hear you, but still it's like I'm not trying to get this." It's like I don't know.
Yeah, I picked up some food from a to-go place from a friend and then she ran out and hugged me and I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it and it was weird and then she went back inside and you could tell
Yeah.
like all the people in the line were like not cool with what just happened.
You're like, it's not me. I didn't mean to. I was on the
Yeah,
other end
but
of that
like
hug.
it's that weird thing where like everyone kind of wants to say something, but no one's a scientist and knows like
Well,
eh,
that's my biggest thing, honestly, that I keep talking about is like I think the problem. I mean, there's a lot of problems, but one of the problem is like there's no guidelines to what is like. There's so many mixed signals. It's like the president saying one thing, then the CDC is saying another thing, then like doctors are saying another thing, and so it's just like, what the fuck am I? I don't
yeah,
even know. Like, it's like, if you tell me if you both wear a mask and you keep 6 feet distance, even if someone has it, you should be all right. That helps, but I'm not even hearing that. It's like camping is a 2 and food to go is a 2, but like going on a hike is a 7. You're like, I don't how explain these
right.
things.
Or like yeah,
Yeah.
let's like close restaurants but open gyms. And you're
Yeah.
like, well, that doesn't make sense. Like nothing really makes sense. It's just kind of
Yeah.
like some people or some businesses, they're like, "Oh, we don't want them to just die, I guess, and we'll just let them open."
Which there's other ways we can figure that out. But yeah, exactly. It's just like I was driving up PCH because sometimes you just got to drive. Like
Oh,
I didn't even
I did
get
that
out.
before this because I was like, I can't stay here all day. I'm gonna drive for 20 minutes.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I was just driving, and there's like that steakhouse on PCH, Maestro's or whatever,
Mastros.
and Mastro's.
Yeah.
And so I guess you can't. Now the rule is you can't eat inside, but if you have outdoor eating, you can eat outdoors. So they set up like this big ass circus tent, like on the cliff next to the ocean, and you can eat. And it was packed. It was
I'm
packed.
sure it's
And
packed.
yeah, and then as I was driving back from there on Sunset, like or on Santa Monica, all the bars in WeHo are open. Like Mickey's is packed, and like all those bars, and the Den is packed, and yeah, it was just crazy. I was like, who are these people though? Also, who are like need to go? I don't know. It's just very. I support. the businesses, like if they ask for Venmos, I'll Venmo them, but it's like I don't need to go there. If you need my help, I'll help you out, but I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna wait it out.
Well, everything we do now, it's like after you did it, like I'll go to Starbucks, get a coffee. I'm like, wait, was that worth it?
Yeah, I haven't done that yet.
I was like, and I have this little hook, like I bought on Amazon, like a little hook that opens the door. So
That's hilarious. You bought one of those?
Yeah, they kept advertising. They knew they were going to get me, and they got me, and it's actually kind of nice. And I have this little.
You push the numbers with it.
Yeah, I got a Father's Day gift, which was a UV like phone charger. You put it in, and it like kills all the virus on it, and it charges it. I'm like, all right,
great.
We're living in the future.
Yeah. I do have like a station by my front door that has like sanitizer. I'll wipe my phone off and stuff. But
that's gonna be the new house selling point. They're like, guest room, forget it. Give me a panic room where I take off all my stuff and it burns it and washes me down like Austin Powers.
Exactly. Austin Powers. Yeah, it's a panic room and a UV cleanser, and exactly.
Yeah, you just like shower and everything from the outside is disintegrated, and you can enter your safe space.
I'd be down. That'd be cool. Or even just like a tube comes down and it like sprays stuff on. I don't even know. I don't even know what the future will hold. But it is interesting. I work for one of my clients is an architect who does restaurants and hotels and casinos, and I've been working with him a lot during
Steve Wynn.
No, I wish, but his architect. No, it's not him, but. He has done a lot of stuff in Vegas, but one of his jobs is trying to figure out the future of restaurants. Like, what will it be? What will the future of restaurant experiences be? Like, is it the greenhouses that we've seen where each people are eating in those greenhouses, or is it the stacked on each other kind of seating, or is it space? Like, there's a place by my parents' house where you come in, you order your food from the register, you go sit down at a table, and the minute you sit down at a table, someone runs out and puts a do not sit on two of the tables around you. So you get to choose wherever you want to sit, and then they block off the other tables around you. And so it's kind of like a VIP experience. But
I mean, if you're designing it from scratch, maybe like little rooms for each diners, like 4 tables, and then every room is glass, so you can still kind of pretend you're around other people. That's
what people are starting to kind of do, but also it's like, that's weird. I mean, who the hell wants to do that? I mean, there's part of that. I don't know. It's so weird.
Or we'll be like 3 months from now, we'll have a vaccine and everything will go back to normal.
Wouldn't that be so weird if like it's like it never happened? Like it's like everything's good. Like, we're good now. Oh, apparently all you had to do was like eat
kale,
honey. Yeah, kale. If you just
kale wins again. Damn.
Damn it again. Did you know that back in 2008, the biggest fast food company that would buy kale was Pizza Hut?
Really?
And they used it on their pizza, on their like buffet bars,
for like not for food.
For
like
as a
putting
garnish.
Food on.
Yeah, exactly. Because no one cared about it, and then now it's like everyone cares about it.
Oh wow, look at Pizza Hut.
Yeah, innovators.
Like, what are you craving?
Oh man, it's so weird. Like, what would be my first place back? I have no idea. Like, the other day I was like, it's Del Taco, and I'm like, why is it Del Taco? Like, I don't even like Del Taco that much. But I honestly don't know. I think it would be more of like I think it would be like grabbing a beer somewhere with some friends. That would be like that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like, if I could just go to somewhere with like a fire pit, or like, I don't know. That would be it. Like, just being with friends again would be pretty cool. But also, I'm sure it'd be pretty weird because I have done some like social distance hangouts, and it's just weird because it's going to end, and you can't like really hang out. Like, you're all just kind of sitting around, and you're like, cool.
Like, on your laptop or like in person?
No, we did for my birthday, which was in quarantine. We did like a hangout where everyone was like 9 feet apart in a circle, and there was like a fire pit in the middle. And so we measured it out, like we were distant, but it was still like everyone brought their own food, everyone brought their own alcohol, everyone brought their own chairs. It was like weird, but it was still like, okay, here we are, but it still felt like a Zoom. Everyone's just kind of talking, but no one's. I think the thing for me with Zoom and everything is when you're on a Zoom call, everyone's talking at once,
Right.
and you can't really have you can have side rooms now, but you can't really have your own conversations. Whereas like if you're meeting in real life, what naturally happens is everyone kind of talks and then they kind of go off on their own
Yeah,
little,
yeah.
and you can't do that
And now
as
you
much.
watch them. Look at those assholes on doing their side room. What they think they need to talk about us.
Exactly, exactly, and you can't eavesdrop or anything, and then
Yeah.
also, and it's just like it takes the magic away of hanging out because sometimes it's like I don't want to talk, like I don't like that person's girlfriend, or I don't, it's like if you're in a group you can figure it out, but on a Zoom they haven't figured it out organically, and I mean I don't think they will. It will just have to change.
Right. And sometimes you look forward to this like Zoom or this hang, and then you're like, oh, I kind of overhyped this.
Oh
Like
yeah.
this is not like it's not the replacement I thought it was gonna be. And then you're kind of have those feelings on top of it, and then you just want to leave.
Yeah. And how do you leave? You can't just leave unless it's like, whoops, my internet cut out. Okay, come back on. No,
Yeah.
I'm out.
Would
Yeah,
you do
no.
any of these like live comedy shows in like another state where there's less virus?
No. I mean, I don't that's the one thing I've learned though. Is like I miss it a lot and I used it for me, but I don't need it. And I don't know, and I mean, I don't say that. It's such a hard thing because you know how bro-y comedy can be. Like people are like, they can be like, bro, I need this, and if you don't need it, you should quit now. It's like, no, that's bullshit. It's like the people that are driving to Arizona for like 5 minutes of stage time and aren't getting paid. It's like, why? What was the purpose of that? Like, I mean, I understand why Dave Chappelle did what he did, and they at least did it really well, and he has a following, but it's like I don't, unless you need it to like pay your rent, I don't see a reason. Like there's other ways to get your creativity out there. And for me it's like I love it and I miss it, but I know it will come back. Like I don't think it's gone forever. So it's like for me it's
Well, I think Chappelle had it every night, which is also like you're building momentum. Like I
yeah.
honestly, in full disclosure, I thought about it. I was like, maybe I'll just drive to this place. I can, do a few spots here, and I started planning it out. But then it's like, all right, then you come back, and then you're just back to not doing it a whole bunch.
That's what I'm saying too. Yeah, I guess it's for me it's hard because it's like my wife does have that heart problem, so it's not like I can just if I did anything like that, I would have to quarantine for like 2 weeks,
Yeah.
Like, and so that's what I'm saying. It's like, and who are these people in the audience? It's like, are they good people who want to see comedy, or are they people who are deniers that want to heckle you? So it's like I just kind of was like, same thing. I thought it through, and if there was a safe way to do it, I would definitely give it a go. But I just haven't. I don't see that as a. I don't see a safe unless I was outside. If I was outside, I could do it. But if you're like inside, I mean, did you see the DL Hughley video when he like passed out?
No, I heard about that on the Rogan pod. I haven't watched it. I didn't really understand why he passed out.
He tested positive for COVID. He like had COVID. He didn't know. He went on stage. He's performing. Everything's normal, and then all of a sudden he starts like talking like he's having a stroke or something, and he falls over. And then they take him out, and then he tested positive for COVID. And that is something that kind of happens, and you get like super fatigued, and you just kind of almost faint. And so, and then Brendan Schaub um, and Brian Callen, they got COVID from going to San Antonio.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah, they did shows in San Antonio and they ended up getting COVID. So it's like you have to outweigh your risks. Like I have been lucky to where I've been able to make enough money doing side hustles, including acting. Like I filmed 2 commercials while in in uh in quarantine, which is hilarious.
And you're on the Super Bowl. I saw that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But that was before this. So I filmed, but the commercials I filmed here, it's like I auditioned like via like I have these lights, and it's like I had to like film it myself. And then when I booked it, literally they send you a camera and they send you everything, and then you set it up and they walk you through it, and then they control it all remotely. And
You're the perfect guy for this because you got all the tech stuff. You're like, yeah, no problem. I
yeah,
got
and so
this.
it worked out. So it's like I'm like, damn, dude, I've been all right. But it's like I got in a fight with a friend from my hometown who was like, we got to open this shit back up. There's not, and luckily it was a good argument, but it came down to her saying she can't pay her bills and she has these kids and she doesn't have a job, and where she lives there's not that many patients. So she basically was like, it's affecting me so much that I'm going to lose a lot. And I get that. If I had to move because of this, or if I had to go severely into debt, I'd be pretty pissed off and I'd be trying to find work. But I have been lucky, so
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, there are other costs. Like I'm sure there's been some suicides related to
There
COVID.
has.
So
I have a friend whose niece committed suicide. She was like 15, and it's just, I mean, think about kid, like they don't get to go out for summer. They don't understand
that's
why they
sad.
can't hang out with their friends. Yeah, and so it is really sad. But that's why I'm like, that's crazy too. I had good friends of mine who have been together for 6 years break up because they've just been quarantined together in a 1-bedroom apartment, and they
Yeah.
haven't.
No
Yeah,
one signed up for that.
no, no, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like as much as you like your significant other, like you didn't say like, all right, so we're going to do this 20
Well,
hours a day.
I think a healthy relationship is individualism and like being your own person and having distance and then coming home and sharing those moments. But like when you literally are sharing every breathing moment with each other,
Yeah.
it's like you're in. It's like Groundhog Day. I was talking
Yeah.
with someone today. It's like I don't know. It doesn't feel like it's been as long as it has, but it also feels like it's been forever.
Yeah. It's like, I don't know who said the saying, but it's like relationships should be like two trees next to each other planted where like the branches are touching,
Oh, that's nice. I
So
like.
you have to be like kind of separate. You got to be your own people too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's what I agree 100%.
Yeah. Where's your lovely wife quarantining?
She's over there in the other room. We have a yeah. This is her computer, so she's just in the front room. Luckily we have a nice sized apartment. Whereas like my friends, they only have a 1-bedroom, and they both were working full time, so they were literally
Yeah.
like zooming, next to each other, being like, "Hey, shut the hell up! I'm on." It's like for us,
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
we don't. We've been lucky. She just hears me bitching about my computer a lot. I'm like, when is it getting here? But that's about
Yeah.
that's
You,
about.
you seem to be in good spirits and good headspace.
Yeah, I've been meditating a lot, doing
Speaking
headspace
of
and stuff.
headspace, yeah.
Yeah, and I've been writing a lot, and but I've been just trying to focus on like what are the things that matter to me most, and that's what's really interesting. Like I closed a deal today on writing a new pilot for someone that they're producing. So it's like it's weird how things are happening now because I'm not as lost. Like I feel like there was about 2 years where I kind of got lost in the shuffle, in the sense where I was just trying to grind so much, but with no focus. And then once this hit, it was like, okay, what do I really want? What do I want to do? And then I got really focused, and they're happening. And I'm like, shit. So it's like, I feel like all this stuff that when things are normal, there's so many distractions. Whereas right now, there's no distractions. And it's you and your insecurities and everything else. And you got to figure out what means the most to you. And so it's like, I've been focusing on that. And that's actually been really, really inspiring, and also really rewarding, literally. Like I've been getting the stuff that I meant to get, and it's like I'm still keeping up with the bookers and stuff and saying hi and checking in on them. But it's like I'm not going to submit myself for a Zoom show. Like in the beginning, I was kind of insecure that I wasn't getting asked to be on more Zoom shows. And
Right.
then I was like, it doesn't matter. I don't even want to do them. So it's like, it's focusing on doing
Now you'll
shows you want
get
to do.
12 requests tomorrow because you fully don't want to do it.
Hey, I'm down. But that's what I'm saying. It's not that I don't want to do it.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just that like it shouldn't define me as a comedian because I'm not doing
Yeah.
a Zoom show every
It's not
night.
on your day-to-day goal list. Like you have other things you want to achieve.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly. Exactly.
You mentioned like you've had this time to focus on your goals and get some of these things done. Like, what are some of those things specifically? And like, what areas of your career? Is it the acting side? Is it the photography side?
Well, the photography side is that's always kind of going, and that's not really something that I.
Like, you're just taking the most amazing photos of your apartment for the last
Yeah,
90
yeah, just
days?
like yeah, exactly. It's like, all right, it's too much. Now, it's mainly like making the as I was saying, the fixer upper thing. I used to just like do little things here and there, but now it's like really like solidifying what that business is, and that's moving. And it's like I feel like a lot of people in this town and a lot of people trying to figure out how to get to the next step, they don't take the time to like or put in the effort to make it as good as possible. So it's like if they're, you know, trying to be a comedian or if they're trying to be open an eBay store, an Etsy store, like they half-ass it. And it's like you can't half-ass it. Like you gotta build a good logo. You gotta just like go hard for a minute, and then once it starts working, it'll work, but you gotta put that effort in the beginning. So it's like I tried to make so that side business is going. Now the creative thing, that's the thing too. It's like, all right, I want to start writing versus just creating content, because that's kind of what we were doing is
Right.
creating content. So it's like, who cares? Like, I want to create content that I care about. Like, I'm tired of, I mean, I'm gonna do it on Wednesday, but it's like I'm tired of playing Quiplash, online
Hmm.
for hits, or like
Yeah, yeah, for virality or
yeah, or just like putting up vids just to put up vids. It's like, no, it's like doing what we actually want to do. So it's like this script that we've been working on forever. It's like we finally got funding for it, and
nice. Congrats.
we didn't have to thank you. And we didn't have to do like a Kickstarter. It's like we got actual people. And so that's the thing is like no, and also it's been interesting because there is a confidence when you're inside. It's like, what else do I have to lose? Like, what else is going to happen?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like, I can't go outside. It's like,
The only
what
thing
the
you have
fuck?
is being afraid to fail, like that's once you put that aside, just do.
Yeah, but now it's like no one's telling you that to their face. They're just saying it on a computer, and you're like, all right, bye. It's
Yeah,
just like a
yeah.
weird, like as bullies are stronger online, yada. It's like I'm almost like, this is what I want to do. This is how I do it, and I've been doing it. And so now it's like even when things do go back to normal, I think I'm like, I'm not going to go out as much. I'm going to go to places that I'm focused on going versus just going out to go out.
Have you like cuz you're a guy who manages logos and brands and images.
Yeah.
How do you take like that skill set and apply it to like Andrew Delman the brand? Like do you find that challenging to put on that hat for yourself?
Yeah, totally. I mean, I think you have to be kind of an egomaniac to not have that as a problem. And a lot of people in this business are like they're obsessed with themselves. And I am definitely not obsessed with myself as much as I wish I was. But
We
but
can change that.
yeah, exactly. It's probably because of the lack of confidence growing up. My dad's like, you're all right. But it's just knowing how to package yourself and have confidence in it. Like I realize now it's like I don't really want to be, the guy with his wearing his own shirts. Like we have a lot of friends that are comedians that always wear their own logos, and there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not what I really want to
Yeah, it
do. It's like
doesn't fit your brand.
yeah, I don't want to
Yeah.
wear shirts with my slogans on it or my face on it or my podcast on it, and I don't want to like constantly be feeling like I have to create, because that was what created a lot of stress for me. And I realized through this is what matters the most to me, and there were things that I had forgotten about that I've refallen in love with, like hanging out with family or like fixing. I have an old Vespa and I have an old VW van, and it's like just
Nice. What
fixing
year?
those. Which ones?
The
The
van.
Vespa. The van is an '82 van again, Westphalia with the pop top. So
Nice.
it's
Perfect for COVID.
oh yeah, no, dude, I'm taking it next week. I'm going for 2 weeks, and I'm just driving all the way up past San Francisco. Um, so yeah, so it's like I've been fixing that a lot, and just that sort of stuff has been helping me creatively, because when I first fell in love with writing and acting and being silly, it was when I lived at home with my parents and you had no worries. And then when you move out here, you get so many worries and bills and whatever that it becomes like, and you get lost in the scene of like, oh, do I talk about this or do I talk about it's like, who cares? It's like, just the people that make it are those who do their own thing. And I mean, we all get lost in the shuffle, but that's what I'm kind of like. I don't feel like I need to follow what other people are doing as much as do my own thing. And I think confidence helps, organization helps, and then like just seeing what people react to, and so by using those other brands, it's easy. And also asking my wife and my friends like what they think of me, or what aspects that they like of me, and that's really helped as well. I mean, you as a person is, yeah, you do whatever you want to do, but you as a brand, you do have to kind of feed the gram, as they say, feed the Instagram, or feed whatever they're liking. That's what you need to keep giving them if that's what you're into.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a balance between like never posting and being your main focus.
Yeah, and there's also ways to make it easier. I mean, like, I don't organization is key to be super productive. And I mean,
Hmm.
whether you can do that on your own or you need to hire someone to do it, there's apps like Planoly and other apps where you
Hmm.
can literally like spend a day, 1 day a week, and fucking post, like, make 7 posts and then press the button and it will auto post for you.
Oh,
So
nice.
it's, yeah, so it's like those are things like when I run Instagrams for a few of these brands, at first I was dying because every day you have to think of it. But if you just say, no, for 2 hours, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to plan out 14 posts, that's not that hard. And
Right.
then you line them all up. You don't think about it for 2 weeks. When you come back, you're refreshed, and every day it posts at the ideal time for whatever.
And then
So
you just
you
got a
just have,
coffee in hand. You're just admiring your likes, and then
and
you,
you double, yeah, and you're
yeah,
just like, this is it. I didn't even
yeah.
have to have a panic attack.
I'm right.
One
I
panic
am the
attack.
man.
Yeah, only
Yeah.
one panic attack a week now instead of every day.
I started like even for the pod, like I have a checklist. I'm like, all right, so I have to do my Instagram post, my Instagram story from the main account, the personal account,
Yeah.
the show account, Facebook page. Like it
Yeah,
ends up being like all these different things. And if I don't use
takes a
the
lot.
checklist, I'll miss like three of them. And I'll be like, all right, why was this episode a little light this week? Oh yeah, I missed like four of the things I'm
Yeah,
supposed
and
to
I mean
do.
you're really organized, and I don't know if that's because of your other job or just who you are naturally, but I mean
A little bit of
you've
both.
been yeah, but you've been really good at that. Whereas I think a lot of people, they don't have that naturally. Some people do, but it is learned behavior. It's just doing it, or like, or not putting so much pressure on it, just
Yeah.
kind of knowing what it is. And then like I think a lot of things with making yourself a brand is you take everything personal, or you feel icky if you do something. And it's true, like
Oh yeah.
even during COVID, I see some people that are really close to me, and I won't call them out on it, but they seem really desperate for online likes or something. And I reach out to, I'm like, you cool? You all right? And they're like, yeah, things are good. And I'm like, because you're posting a lot, and they're needy, desperate, thirsty posts. And so, but there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you need. But I just think that sometimes the audience can read that. But I don't think there's any shame in just going for it. And
And
I think,
sometimes that's their avenue too. It's like that. Okay, so they've decided to be more on Instagram during this quarantine.
which is fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that was the thing, like for me especially, I was like, I don't want to do that. And you don't have to do that. But you also have to accept, like, sadly, this business is not just about talent. It's also about business. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, it
Marketing.
really,
Yeah.
no, it really is. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I
That's
remember
the pod.
it.
It's show business.
I know, and that does suck at times, because when I did first move out here, I was naive enough to be like, you know what, my talent will take me there. And I get a lot of good compliments on my talent, but you also move out here and you realize all the people that were the best in their hometown move out here,
Right.
and it's just like there are a lot of talented people out here. So it's a good mix of talent and business, and just keep going. As long as you keep going, it'll hit at some point. Whether you hit huge like some of these big comedians that sell out stadiums, or you never hit but you can still make a living doing it. It just like if you're here to be famous, it's not going to work. But if you're smart and you see it as the business it is and you stick with it, you'll have your tipping point at some point.
Yeah, it happens. And staying in the game. And also like a lot of it is, timing. Just
Yeah.
sometimes it's like your time is this, they're looking, they being like the industry as a whole, or just like society is looking for someone just like you. And
Yeah.
the more we have to create our own self brands, like the
Yeah.
more we are like becoming our own, like we're kind of self auditioning for every little thing in life now. And
Totally.
so sometimes just whatever's being auditioned for, they just don't need you. It doesn't mean you suck. It doesn't mean this. It's just like, we don't need you right now.
Exactly. And then, but they do like to see you trying. Like I have
Yeah.
other friends that are like super artists, you know, and it's like I don't, you know, it's like I only want to give them my best stuff, and it's like, you know, half of the stuff I have sold has been my fourth idea. You know, like my
Right.
dream project does not get bought, and they're like, "What else you got?" And then you just kind of throw something out there, and they're like, "We love it,"
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like, and the other thing that's weird, and I mean, Nicole Byer will tell you, she's the queen of just kind of like owning it. It's like you just got to put as much stuff out there as you can that you do believe in. Like anything you do, don't half-ass it. Like in my opinion, try your hardest no matter what it is, and one of them will hit, you know. And it's like, and just being out there, be getting the recognition, like people
Yeah.
will start to give you more opportunities just because they see you around and they see that you're trying, and they want you to succeed for the most part. So it's like if you keep pitching shows, one of them will sell, or if you keep producing shows, you're in that environment, and then
Yeah.
before you know it, you're a regular, and you know.
Yeah. Brent Forrester said something really great on one of his Dynasty talks. He said, people get confused. They go into these pitches or these meetings and they get disappointed if they don't sell what they're trying to sell that meeting.
Yeah,
But your goal isn't to sell during that meeting. Your goal is to get another meeting. The goal is
exactly.
to build a relationship so they take what you do seriously. And then when you have something, they keep, answering the phone, so to speak.
Exactly. And that's the thing is like I have noticed like most of the people, because we're all just people. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
other thing is these suits when you get there, I mean, sometimes they're pretty intimidating, but for the most part, they're just like trying to fit in too,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they want to make a sale. And so it's like I was meeting with Warner Brothers all the time and not selling anything, and I was getting insecure. But then finally, like I bumped into one of the guys at one of the comedy shows that I always pitch to, and he's like, hey, you know, he wasn't in work, so he didn't have to be so serious. And
Yeah.
he's like, I'm on your side, man. We're gonna find you something, we're gonna get you something. And they're like, oh, that's how they think about it. They don't think about like, fuck this guy, he's here again. They're
Yeah.
like, no,
Yeah.
that's a cool guy. Like, keep throwing ideas at the wall. Like, and another thing I heard, I pitched to someone that was really good, and they loved my idea, but they were like, it's not the right time. And I was like, what do you mean? And they literally said, if Fleabag were to get pitched again today, they wouldn't buy it. And this is
Mm,
the company that bought it. And I was like,
interesting.
why? And I was like, why not? And they're like, it's just that the CEO is different. The viewers, like it's whoever's at the top. Like if you remember that Seinfeld episode when they sold the pilot and on the show Seinfeld,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like it was going really well, and then that guy who bought the pilot fell in love with Elaine, and he goes to Greenland or whatever,
Yeah.
and then
Greenpeace. Yeah.
yeah, and then the new lady takes over, and she's like, we had different views. I hate it. It's canceled.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
very real. It's just like one week it might be like this dude's doing this, and then it changes, and that's not what they're looking for. So it's just like, just keep going out there and it'll work. I mean,
Yeah, I was around so many music artists, same thing, like a new A&R or new label president, everyone's dropped. We're starting fresh. It's like you're bringing in your own squad. It has nothing to do with them. It's just
yeah,
circumstantial.
exactly. And I feel like if I didn't get little more, and you have to, for me, it's like, I used to be a self hater. And so I wouldn't celebrate my wins, only like my failures. But I sort of trained myself to start celebrating the little wins. And that is really good because it's like, if I wouldn't have celebrated the small wins, I probably would have moved, you know, back home, which a lot of people do. But it's like now I've gotten to, I make my living from, I mean, the web design and stuff is on the side because you know, I'm just a hustler in that way, but it's like most of my income and savings comes from the acting and creative element. And so I wouldn't have had that. I mean, I've been out here about 10 years, as they say,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
yeah, but it's like, I don't know. You just got to kind of keep going. And I don't know. If you have the talent and you love it, it'll work its way
Yeah, a lot of
somehow.
these overnight successes, they're overnight success for 10 years, like you're saying, like they've
Exactly.
been in it, they've been around and like very rarely, like if you're in LA and someone like makes it, you're like, I've never heard of that person. Like when they make it big, or they get a Netflix spot, like usually it's someone who's been grinding and this is happening and you know?
Or they're like a YouTuber or something, and you might not have heard of their, it's sometimes random, but yeah, you're right. It's like for the most part, it is that they've been working hard forever, but they might not have been a household name, and they finally get their shot, and
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
where's this person been? And it's like they've been fucking working, like Tiffany Haddish, or like,
I think I heard even Dave Chappelle had like a record number of pilots that didn't go.
yeah, he had a lot, and yeah, Aaron Paul had like 10 pilots that didn't before he got Breaking Bad, and I mean, there's a lot of it's just keep going, like, and then something will happen that, and you probably won't even expect it.
Yeah. Speaking of keep going, we usually talk about goals on this pod, but since February, it's been kind of weird to do that. But do you have goals? Like, what are your like comedy goals or artist goals? Or are you just taking it day by day?
Well, now since I finally got that money, my goals would be to write this pilot that I've been working on, because it's just an idea right now. So I'm gonna
Do you
write
sell it
that.
on off the outline or?
Yeah, I sold it off. I had a pitch, luckily, before this happened,
Yeah.
in-person pitch, and they loved it. But then I didn't hear a lot from them, and then they came back and they're like, "How much do we need to get this written?"
Mm-hmm.
And then we were kind of tossing some numbers around, and then we haven't come to a full agreement, but it's definitely at the point where I'm like, "Oh, this is gonna happen." So, but that's my goal, is to finish that, write that, and I'm going to do that while I'm driving my van. I'm
Oh,
going to
I
go
love it.
so I'm going to be writing that on my road trip, because it's like I do feel like I have not been as creative as I wanted to be locked around. Like I just don't get the creativity, because everything just becomes about this.
Yeah,
So
you'll
it's
have the
like,
van popped up. You'll be sitting
yep,
on a
yep,
little chair, your new
yep,
laptop glowing. You'll
yep,
just be
yep,
living
yep.
life.
That's the dream. So that to get that done. So it's just kind of focusing on why I got into this. And it wasn't, and I love stand-up comedy, and I love comedy, and there will always be that in my work, but it's like I think just doing what I want versus like chasing what's in, or chasing an idea, versus like just
Yeah.
doing your own thing. Like Whitmer Thomas, who's a good friend
Oh,
of
I love
mine.
Whitmer. He's so funny.
Yeah, and he's done a lot of my shows. I mean, it's so awesome that he got the golden one, like, and
Yeah.
he kills it, but that's his own thing. And I mean, even if you talk to people who knew him 10 years ago, he's he used to chase that club, like we all do. It's like, okay, I'll do this because that's what's getting booked. And he did his own thing for so long. I'm sure that ate away at him. But now his special comes out, and it's so him, and it's so good, and it's so unique, and it's so awesome. And so that's what I'm like trying to find. When you said your brand, it's like trying to focus on like what is so uniquely me, to where, it doesn't matter.
Totally.
It's like undeniable.
What was your pitch like when you sold? Like, because there's a lot of different ways people pitch. Like, some people are like going through dialogue. They're selling like this story arc. Like, what was like? How did your pitch go down? Because it's a successful pitch.
Yeah, I've done a lot of pitches, and I've done some really good ones that didn't sell, and that kills me. Like, I think it's just having a focus on and I don't want to say much about the idea yet, but
Yeah.
just
You
because
don't have to say the idea, but like, what were you selling them on the dialogue? Were you selling them on like the
it was
story
just a
arc?
good
Or
idea. It's just a good idea that's kind of in right now. It's like a niche idea that's in right now, and then having that's another part of the business plan. Like when I used to pitch originally, I was voted out of Groundlings, and I was doing some UCB and some IO, but I wasn't, it's like, where can we see you? Whereas now it's like, I'm a regular at the Hollywood Improv, and I produce shows all over town. And, it's like, now it's like I had that, and there's a confidence in that. When you can perform in front of 0 people or do these Zoom shows or whatever, there's a
yeah,
confidence.
yeah.
And so it's like I had that, and then you have a really focused idea of what the show is and what the arc is going to be, and all the characters. And I've brainstormed the hell out of this thing, so I can talk about it inside and out. I know what the episode is, but you have to still give them a way to feel like they are picturing it themselves. It's like when you read Harry Potter, you're making up what those characters look like and what they sound like. But if you watch the movie, it's all done for you. So it's like, when you pitch the story, you have to help, like, let them make it up in their heads, you know?
Mm.
And so
Kinda like
they
give them
so
the tools to paint their own little picture?
exactly, but you
Yeah.
have to be really good, really direct and good at it, but not too good to where they're like, "We get it." You know,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
there has to be some wonders, some enchantment in it, but
Right. It's
also
a romance.
yeah, it is, and you learn that over time, just like with stand up or with anything else. Like, I remember having some pitches that were like, "This is perfect," and they're like, "We get it, and we
Yeah.
love it, but, it's too much like this, or it's too much like this," and you're like, "No, I didn't mean to use that as an example." But I feel like if you use something, you have to confuse them too, like, not in a bad way, but if you're like, it's like The Office meets this, it's like
Oh,
that,
I
they're
love
just
the Hollywood slash, like, this
yeah,
was
yeah, yeah,
this.
exactly.
Yeah.
If you do that, then they're going to picture those two shows and they're not going to be able to move on from it. So
Oh, you're saying
that
don't do that?
I'm saying that it works sometimes, but you have to be really you have to be like the elements of The Office, this and this element of The Office meets this and this element of this, but with this or whatever, but not just say it's The Office meets Workaholics or whatever. Like, if you say that, it's too broad, and they're just picturing those two shows. So they want specificity, like any joke too. Anyone will tell you that specifics are what make jokes funny.
Yeah.
Like, the idea is everyone's talking about the same idea. Everyone's talking about, relationships, sex, airports, everyone's
Yeah,
talking about
yeah.
that, but it's the specifics. So it's like, how is this idea specific to you and to the time? And
Yeah, yeah. You gotta have your finger on the pulse of, like, what's, they're all kind of into right now, if you're
yeah,
trying to
and
make
I
the sale, I guess.
and I had three ideas,
Yeah.
and it was like, and luckily I already had a relationship with these guys. We've produced stuff in the past, that didn't go anywhere, but they liked me, and so I came. This was an old idea that I loved, and
Yeah.
I had already pitched it like 5 years ago, and I pitched two other ideas, and like, we really like it, and then I pitched them this one again, and they're like, we love it, and that's
So you went in with 3 ideas and you pitched 1, 2, and then the 3rd, they're like, "Yes?"
yeah, exactly, and it was one
Ah.
that I've already pitched, but I love it, and I
Yeah.
still think about it, and so that's why that's also like the happiness, it's like you write a joke 5 years ago, you can never figure out how to do it, and then finally you figure it out and it works, and you're like,
Mhm.
fuck yeah, I knew there was something there, and so that's kind of like how it is. It's like I knew it would be good, but it wasn't the right time, and now it's getting there.
Were you picking up on, like, social cues? Were you like, "Oh, they're over this first idea," or were they like, "What else do you got?"
They weren't over any of the ideas. They liked them all, but then it was just kind of riffing, and they're like, "What else? What?" And then it was like they kind of started talking about social media, and they started talking about spying, and like, some of the stuff they were talking about. I was like, that reminds me of this show that I wrote a long time ago, but and they're like, tell us more about that. And luckily, it like, I had it in the back of my head, so it might have been rusty, but it was also like telling it for the first time again. So I
Yeah.
got super excited, and then they're starting to improvise stuff with it, which might not be what I had in mind, but also
Right.
it's 5 years later and it's a different thing. So it's like, yeah, let's talk about it. You're involved in it too, because everyone, even all the EPs and everyone, they want to feel like they helped out in some
Yeah,
way
yeah, it's
too.
their baby
So
too in a way.
yeah, so it's like, then I took all those ideas, and then like, we're gonna talk, and then we didn't
Yeah.
talk for a minute, and then they called me and they're like, all right, we have this kind of money, we're willing to move forward with that idea. And I was like, oh, all right,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
okay, love that idea.
Well, it sounds like you were using really strong listening skills in the meeting to be like, "All
Yeah,
right, this is ki," and like you're talking, but you're not steamrolling them with your plan in the meeting. You're kind of like taking their feedback. All right, this is kind of what they want. You're kind of like stand up. You're like, "All right, this is what they're giving me," and then you kind of moved in
that's
with the
what it
kill.
is, and I do think that has really helped in my pitching, because
Yeah.
it's like you don't get nervous, and like, to be honest with you, stand up is like some of the most nerve-wracking stuff, or it can be. When it's a great audience, oh my gosh, you feel like a god, like you're on top of the world. When it's a bad audience, I mean, it's a lot of work, but if you can get them, I mean, it feels great. So it's like, when you go into a room, it's just like there's no fear anymore, because you're like, I've performed for less people than you,
Mm-hmm.
and it's, and I don't know, it's just a weird, like, you go in and you feel comfortable, so they feel comfortable, and then you just riff, And that's what this whole industry is like literally, I forget who told me it, but it made so much sense. Is like, I just want to show them that I'm professional and I'm someone they want to hang out with. Like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
just want
yeah.
to, yeah, yeah. And so that's kind of what it becomes. It's like they were like, I like that guy. I want to hang out with him, or I
Yeah.
like that idea. I want more. And so and it works out. And it's like if you talk negative and you seem, it's like people don't want to hang out. But if you do,
Yeah, be a professional work buddy. Yeah. Oh yeah. Even like little people are very perceptive on negativity. Even like small little line, like let something slip here to there, it starts to turn them off.
yeah, you got to get it there, or you got to make it funny so they know it's a joke. But I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
there was a time when I first did stand up. It's like I would talk about everything, and even with the comics backstage, I would complain about life, or I'd complain about such and such. And you could notice people would distance, But when you were good, everyone was your best friend. So it's like
Yeah.
get a therapist, get some best friends,
Yeah. Don't
get
do
some
that in the
other.
meeting.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I have other friends that I bitch to,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
my family and stuff. But yeah, it's like when you're in the meeting, it's like you gotta give them hope. If they're gonna give you millions of dollars, not my project, but other ones,
Yeah.
they gotta believe that you're.
You're the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Andrew, man, this was great. I thought this was a really good
Yeah,
pod. I feel like obviously we could talk for a long time.
yeah.
Uh, where do people find you so they can get ready for this project you got coming out?
You can find me on Instagram. Weirdly enough, I made this screen name back before. So my Instagram is local one way, which is like, it's too old, but I can't change it now.
Yeah.
But you can just type in Andrew Delman. I got andrewdelman.com. I got it all over. You'll find me. Just Andrew Delman. I'm there.
Are you going to blog your Westphalia trip?
I'm going to film it all, and then I'm going to decide what I'm going to do with it. Because I don't want to be one of those like travel bloggers, and I don't want to be like posting all the time. I think there's definitely going to be some zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance. Like there's definitely going to be some.
Yeah. I'm reading that right now.
Oh, me too. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But there's definitely going to be some breakdowns, and and I'm definitely going to have to fix it myself. And so I don't know what it's going to be yet, but I'm going to document the whole thing.
All right. Well, if you don't make it past Bakersfield, I'll come pick you up.
Awesome. I might hold you up.
All right, man. Take care.
Dude.
Bye.
Good talking. Bye.